Slayer.
Hello everybody, my name is Finn and welcome to the Mailbox, the show about sticking it to the man by making scuffed advice videos on the internet. Alright, look, the title of this video is probably the last thing you guys expected to see coming from me, considering how much of this way of life is promoted in our culture, but today, I want to rant about it. I want to rant about it. I hate hustle culture. I really do. I mean, I get hate is a strong word, but it really does irritate me. And to clarify, I'm not against working hard or anything stupid like that, right? I'm quite the opposite, but please just hear me out. I see a lot of this in the world, and especially on social media. And it's not just an internet thing, since this has been persisting for a very long time in the culture of first world countries, right? The United States, China, Japan, those places are what comes to mind for me. And the first question, at least in America, like the first question you always get asked when meeting new people, right, isn't, oh, what's your favorite hobby? Or what do you like doing in your free time? It's always, what do you do for work? What's your job? And then we judge each other based on that, right? Our first impressions on a person is based off of that. It's based off of where they work. When most of us, we don't really get to choose where we work. Most of us don't have the luxury or really the luck to be able to do that. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. And I'm sure we've all seen hustle culture seep into social media, right? Where our feeds are now filled with, you need to buy my course in order to learn how to make money fast. You'll never be happy unless you start your own business. Or better yet, if you have a side hustle. Ooh, you want money, right? You need money. You need money. And I know you're all struggling with money right now, but just start drop shipping and you'll be financially free too. It's just blah, blah, blah. It's all this crap, all this noise. And I've also recently seen it in videos in this genre, in the newer COD commentaries being made. And as I've watched more and more of these types of videos, I've witnessed this becoming more prevalent. I mean, I'm conflicted on how I feel about this, and I'm not trying to call anyone out specifically, but it feels like this genre of video is just getting hijacked by grifter slop, edutainment slop, the slop economy. I don't know. Like, I get modernizing the format, but part of me feels like this just ain't it, man. It all feels like just some sort of circle jerk trying to optimize the format for the algorithm, like putting the stupid bold text on the thumbnail, making it all bright and colorful, when the reason this whole format exists is to go against the grain. Like, the fact that they're even trying to do that when the whole point of these videos are made to go against that, I don't know. Like, that's a ramble for another day. What I'm trying to say is, I'm noticing hustle culture getting pushed onto younger people, right? Onto kids more and more now. And hot take, it's a trap. It really is. Like, let's break down why you'd want to become a hustler. Alright, let's talk about money. Alright, you're down on your luck, especially financially, just like the rest of us, and you want to make a change. All of the rich boomers keep telling you, oh, your generation isn't working hard enough, just work harder, and you know that isn't true. They had life on easy mode. Like, they have no perspective of what it's like nowadays. And you don't have the financial freedom that they had to find what makes you happy. You feel like a wage slave, living for the weekend. Most of your time is spent working just in order to pay the bills, And this is the life that a lot of people, unfortunately, are living. The world is getting more expensive, and our systems of getting money has not caught up with the times. Some people hold more wealth than others, and it's just not fair. There's so many reasons for why things are getting worse for the average person. And certain people and companies, pyramid schemes, agree with you, right? And they claim that they understand what you're dealing with, and they tell you that there's a way out. So you follow their advice. You start chasing the bag. Well, here's the reality of it. You're still a wage slave. Dude, think about it. Seriously, you're still gonna end up being a wage slave. You're still spending all of your time working, Except now you make your own hours and you're an entrepreneur. And you think that this means you'll get to work less, but the reality is, for the large majority of us, instead of working 40 hours a week, now you get the privilege of working 60 to 70 hours a week, potentially even more than that. And instead of having work-life balance, you instead miss out on important aspects of your life. And you sacrifice these things for what? A paycheck? When you're already financially stable at this point after all the grinding, and you could have been going about things in a healthier way? Like, here's the reality of it. Look at what all this hard work has gotten you. Oh, you have all this money, all these cars, a big business. Where are your friends? Where are your friends, dude? Where are they? Or did social media tell you, oh, you don't need friends. They'll only get in the way of your grind. Have you fallen in love? Or do you really think you're gonna find love or something equivalent by fucking all these hoes? Have you made something cool recently? Like, did you build something with your hands? Like, do you even have a hobby? I bet you don't. Dude, are you actually happy? I bet you're not. Why do you think all these multimillionaires and these billionaires, where a majority of them don't actually work for their money, but according to them, a couple of them do work all the time, and they worked really hard to get to where they are? Why do you think they're so unhappy? Why do you think, like, they have all the material items in the world you could ask for? They have no excuse, really, no excuse at all to complain or be unhappy, and yet they're still miserable. Look, working hard is important. There's value in hard work, obviously, alright? Don't start thinking this rant is coming from a lazy person, alright? I get it. I'm a STEM major, dude. Right now, I'm doing summer classes. I'm working full-time. I'm working on videos, trying to treat it like a part-time job, even though I'm not obligated to do that at all. I'm making sure my schedule is absolutely packed this summer. I want to work hard, too. Working hard for the people you love and for the things you love to do is important. But working hard for the sake of working hard is stupid. It's so stupid. Hustle culture isn't self-improvement. It's self-destruction. And the irony of it is insane. People start doing this because they hope for better days. They hope that by having more money, it'll mean they'll be happy. They know just working harder won't get them anywhere, so they proceed to then work harder for more money, believing there will come a point where they don't have to work hard in the future. They then sacrifice their health, their relationships, then doing all the things that make them happy for the sake of earning money that they think will make them happy later. It's insane! It's a trap. I'm not going to pretend to have any grand solution for how you should live your life instead. All I know is that hustle culture is wrong. And I hate how much it's pushed into all of our lives in America. And I'm not going to preach about what a perfect work-life balance looks like, not only because I'm a college student, and perfect work-life balance doesn't exist for any college student, but because it's different for everybody. That depends on the type of person you are. Regardless of that, all of us need some form of it, alright? We all need to spend time working hard, but also time to chill, time to hang out with friends, time to sleep. It's a lot easier said than done, though. It's way easier said than done. I get that. It's way easier said than done. Also, the solution isn't to go in the complete opposite direction of prioritizing short-term pleasures and partying and doing drugs and being completely irresponsible and completely ignoring all the credit card debt that's piling up. No. Obviously, like, that extreme isn't good for you either. Both extremes of ignoring your current well-being for happiness that'll never come, as well as ignoring future consequences that will come, like, these things aren't good for you. The reason hustle culture still persists is because money is becoming more and more of a necessity nowadays, and more things just keep happening in the world that keeps causing more people to struggle with getting money. And these things are likely only going to get worse, right? We all want an out. We all want to get out of this system. And these scummy people and these companies and the culture profits off of that by selling lies to us. Yet the reason you'll still be unhappy after chasing the bag is because you're chasing and prioritizing the wrong things. Money is a means to an end. It is not the end goal. There's a lot of people that say that money will make you happy. And also, there's a lot of people that say money has nothing to do with your happiness. Look, I disagree with both, right? Money itself does not make you happy. It just gets rid of the obstacles in the way of happiness. Financial freedom can take away some of the burdens and the pains, but it's still up to you to find what makes you happy. And an unavoidable truth about the era that we live in is that we're all going to be spending a very large majority of our life working. Let's look at the 8-hour workday, alright? It splits your day up into 3 points. 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, and 8 hours of recreation. Sounds great, right? Wrong. Let's look at this realistically. You don't actually get 2/3 of your day to yourself. Let's get rid of sleep entirely, because you're not actually living life during those 8 hours, alright? You're sleeping, alright? That only leaves 8 hours to yourself, which, keep in mind, now that is half of your time spent working. Not a third of your time spent, half of your time spent. But again, that leaves 8 hours to yourself, which isn't actually true, because a lot of that time is going to be taken up by taking care of yourself with hygiene and figuring out what you're going to eat 3 times a day, doing chores, dealing with random BS that pops up during the day, wasting hours of your life watching TikToks you won't even remember, exercising. Okay, who am I kidding? None of you exercise. Look, the list goes on. Alright? And ultimately, you will learn that there is only so much free time you get to have. And I personally believe that if I'm going to be stuck spending most of my life working because of the way that the world is, I better be spending it doing work I'm proud of, work that's fulfilling, work I enjoy, or at the very least, work I can tolerate. Unless there is a really good reason for it, I refuse to spend my time in a job that I hate just for the sake of a paycheck. Yeah, it might be way easier for me to do something other than a STEM major, and I might get paid a lot more money doing some other desk job instead of writing research papers or doing lab work, or arguably as the job market gets worse, arguably even doing engineering. But as long as I'm not poor, as long as I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, and as long as I have a livable wage, I'm fine. I'm fortunate enough to have found something I love, which is space. I love space, dude, and I could rant about it for hours. Yeah, I mean, even though I'm not so sure about what field I want to work in the space industry, I still love space. And I still have that to guide me. If it's at all possible to get a career in something that you love, especially if you actually want to do the thing you love as a job, and you know you want to, by all means, do it. Especially if you're young. Especially if you can afford to do it. We live in a world now that, yes, promotes toxic work culture, but it's also a world where you can start a career from basically anything. A couple years back, some idiot put super glue in their hair, and now they have a hair care business. Are you kidding me? Look, if they can do it, so can you. Just make sure that it's work you actually like doing, and it's not something that you just like the idea of doing. This is really important. Listen to me when I say this, alright? Make sure you're not only pursuing it to get rich and famous. I'm specifically calling out all the people who think that they want to be content creators, alright? I can guarantee you, 99% of you don't actually want that. But again, that's a topic for another day. I just felt obligated to say that. I also have to recognize, and this is the important point, I have to recognize that there's going to be people who won't be able to find a job they like doing, or at least can even tolerate doing. There's going to be a lot of people stuck in a job that they hate, and there is no way out of it. That's just going to be life. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's not important for this conversation. And this is arguably the most important thing you can do for your well-being. When it comes to work, you have to be able to find fulfillment outside of work. Even if you do have a job that you like, right? You still can't neglect things outside of work. You have to put effort into your friendships, into maintaining what you've got, and also into meeting new people. We're social creatures, and the world is becoming more and more isolating, so this is only getting more and more important. Alright? Having a hobby, whether it be carpentry or playing an instrument or whatever, right? It's really important to life satisfaction. Putting effort into something that you have no obligation to outside of your own happiness is not only healthy for you, but it's fun. It's fun, dude. Make your free time feel fun and worthwhile. Learn how to actually relax in your free time, man. I also happen to have a hobby I really enjoy, which is making videos and messing with cameras. You know, photography, cinematography. Like, I love that stuff too. And I'm really fortunate to have discovered that passion as young as I did. And like I said, I put more time into it. Like, more time than most hobbies, honestly. Like, I'm trying to put the same amount of hours as you would into a part-time job. I love it, and I want to do it, and it makes me happy. You also can't forget the fundamentals, too. Of diet, hydration, hygiene, sleep, exercise. You know, we always forget about these things. Don't forget, our brains and bodies are connected more than you think. We're humans. There. I just saved you a $150 doctor's appointment right there. You're welcome. This last point is going to be really nitpicky, alright? But I also think the language we use when talking about being productive or working, right? I think it can be harmful. We use these sort of words like in self-improvement. What's the first thing you feel when you think of the word work? Probably something negative, right? You probably feel something negative, right? Because in our minds, we associate words with certain feelings. I mean, to me, these sort of words just feel like some office meeting corpo speak. And when you use these sorts of words like work and productivity and words like it can associate doing the things we love with negative connotations. You know, this sounds like some spiritual yogi shit. I know, but no, it's true. Right? At least I think it's true. I mean, and I'm still personally working on changing this too, right? Changing the words I say involving this stuff, because, like the things we say to ourselves can have an impact on how we feel and how we think in a not so unnoticeable way. You know, it's just like automatic negative thoughts when it comes to depression. Yeah, I don't know what other words to use instead. Again, that's kind of nitpicky, but I mean, it could be valuable to you guys. So, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. Rant finally over. I'm finally done yapping. Okay. Let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about hustle culture and how you're spending the limited time you have. I have an email open to submissions at the mailbox submissions at gmail.com. It's on screen now. I have it linked in the description of this video as well. It'll be a place for you guys to send in questions or topics that you'd like me to cover in future videos. I mean, if you send me mail now, you're basically guaranteed to go on the show at this point, because there hasn't been any mail yet. Anyways, look, that's all I've had to say. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.